Democrats are calling in their biggest star, former President Barack Obama, who's now backing Prop 50, Governor Newsom's plan to change how congressional maps are drawn in California.
Republicans want to steal enough seats in Congress to rig the next election and wield unchecked power for 2 more years. With Prop 50, you can stop Republicans in their tracks.
Democrats say Prop 50 is their way to fight back after Republican states redrew maps to help their own candidates. It would let California do the same, reworking districts mid-decade to give Democrats a better shot in some GOP areas. One of the affected districts is held by Republican Congressman Kiley in the Sacramento area. He calls the California plan a power grab, and he wants a federal ban on changing maps mid-decade. He's the author of legislation to do that, and Republican Congressman Kiley joins me now via Zoom because you are in Washington, D.C., where not many Republicans are tonight. Good to have you.
Good to be with you. Thanks.
Okay, let's start off with the Prop 50 conversation. As mentioned, you have something to lose when it comes to Prop 50. So what do you say to critics who say because of that, that's just exactly why you're against it?
Well, we all have something to lose. We are going to lose the right to fair representation in California. We're going to lose the system of independent redistricting that the voters themselves established in California. Communities all across California are going to be torn apart, are now going to have multiple people representing them. Many people in California, whether you're in a district whose partisan composition is going to be radically changed or not, you may well lose the right to vote for the person who represents you right now. And maybe worst of all, it's going to send our country even further into this cycle of partisan division that has really become a serious problem. That's what gerrymandering is. It's literally about bringing partisanship into the process of setting the rules of the game itself. So I certainly don't want to see my own district chopped into 6 different pieces. I think that I can win re-election however this comes out, but I'd love to have my beautiful district remain as it is. But the issue is a lot larger than that. It's about having voters in control of the democratic process in California rather than politicians.
Okay, and you're taking this to the national stage. As mentioned, you're behind legislation that would ban mid-decade redistricting, essentially ban gerrymandering at the national level. House Speaker Mike Johnson not letting this get to a vote in the House. Your thoughts on that? What do you think it would take to get him to do that?
Yeah, I'm very disappointed that the Speaker hasn't brought the floor to the bill to the floor because I think it would pass. There are a lot of people in both parties who have said that they support what I'm trying to do, who agree that having this redistricting war cascade from one state to another is a terrible thing for the country, is a terrible thing for democracy and for representative government. So the best, easiest solution here is just to say we're not going to do this anywhere. I don't think it should be happening in Texas. I don't think it should be happening in California. I don't think it should be happening in any state. So I support, and I've proposed trying to make sure this doesn't happen anywhere. But I also oppose the attempt to gerrymander in California, which is what Prop 50 would do, just like I oppose it in every other state.
Okay, so if in fact it does pass here in the state of California when the special election comes around, which is November 4th, and of course ballots have already been sent out, announced today is former State Senator Richard Pan, Democrat. He says he's going to run against you, and he says even if it doesn't pass, he's going to run against you. He calls you a reliable vote for the president's agenda. Are you?
Well, maybe he should talk to our current leadership and ask them if they think I'm someone who just goes along with what leadership wants every time. I think the reason that I actually had one of the best performances in the entire country in a competitive district last cycle and outperformed the partisan baseline of the district by about 8 points is because I'm, the thing that matters to me most is fighting for my district and fighting for our state and fighting to deliver on things like relieving traffic and protecting against wildfires and protecting beautiful Lake Tahoe, which is in my district. And so these are things that really, transcend party lines, which, by the way, is sort of the inherent error when it comes to gerrymandering, is that the person who does gerrymandering, the folks behind Prop 50, think, okay, if we just move this line here, if we move that line there, if we get the type of people that we want into this district, then we'll vote the way that we want. But voters are a lot smarter than that. Voters don't just look at the party label. Voters look at the representative and what you're doing for your district and for your state. And so that's what I think, ultimately is the flaw in their logic. If the goal here is to try to deny my constituents the right to vote for me just by moving a few lines around, I don't think it's going to succeed.
Yeah, and I just want to make sure that our viewers understand. We were showing some video of Dr. Richard Pan. He's a pediatrician. He is the doctor who's behind some of the strongest vaccine mandate laws of late here in California. Okay, moving on. That's Prop 50. The other topic we want to talk to you about is the federal government shutdown. As mentioned, you're there in Washington, D.C. Not a lot of Republicans are. You said that there's more Democrats there. The House is not in session. What will it take? Because negotiations have stopped. Speaker Mike Johnson says, we're not going to negotiate. That's why the House is not in session right now. What will it take to break this stalemate?
Well, I think a good first step for the House to actually be here in session. The House has canceled its legislative session each of the last 3 weeks. And that's not because there's a government shutdown. Shutting down the House is something totally different and independent than shutting down the government. Now, I want to be clear. I voted to keep the government open. I voted to avoid a government shutdown. I did that during the Trump administration, and I also did it during the Biden administration. I think that that's our responsibility to the American people, is to keep the government running. And even though I don't like these short-term continuing resolutions, a government shutdown is a lot worse when you have a million plus people being furloughed, essential employees missing paychecks, and all of the other harms associated with it. And so my preference would be for the Senate to just pass the same short-term bill that we passed in the House, and that would immediately open the government back up. But it's clear at this point that Senator Schumer is unwilling to do that. And I happen to disagree with that decision, and I think it's unreasonable. But in politics, sometimes you have to work with people that you believe are acting unreasonably for the good of the country to try to find some common ground. So I think we need to be exploring any and all avenues to get the government back open immediately. And it's really hard to do that when the House of Representatives isn't even here. So that's why I decided to come, is to try to encourage other members to do so as well.
Yeah, so you're there as an example. Have you done your due diligence and reached out to House Speaker Mike Johnson, whether that's knocking on the door or picking up the phone?
Yeah, I was on the call that we did as a conference today, and I've heard quite a bit from him and his team. And I've, of course, made a lot of statements publicly as well as to what I think is the right thing for him to do, which is, it really just is puzzling to me that the House has decided not to come back, because we have ordinary legislative business to do as well. Passing a short-term funding bill isn't the only thing we do. We have oversight hearings. We have legislation that we need to mark up. We have floor votes. We have the ordinary business of the House that is just totally put on hold for weeks. Like, I'll give you one example. There's something called the Farm Bill that still hasn't been passed this year, which is really important to agricultural rural areas. And as part of that, I'm trying to get a provision included that would reauthorize a program called Secure Rural Schools, which a lot of the rural areas in my district are reliant on for education funding. But we can't move that legislation as long as the House is out of session.
Yep. Well, we do appreciate your willingness to speak to us, of course, but then also to be there and be an example of, let's come to the table, let's talk at the very least. Yeah. All right, Congressman out of Rockland, Kevin Kiley, thanks so much for being with me tonight.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right.